Hello, students, and happy Monday. At long last, we are beginning to write our either college essays or cover letters today. I have gone on in great detail to discuss that we will be starting the writing process today. At this point, we should have done a lot of brainstorming work, some thought, looked at some examples of college essays and cover letters. That was all last week. You should have submitted to me ideas for your cover letters or essays. You should have gotten feedback from me about your cover letters or essays. And now today, we are beginning the writing process. Now I know, especially for students in this class, writing can be really intimidating and kind of difficult. So I wanted to support you as much as I could in this process, while also giving you freedom to write freely and write the things that you need to write, because I can't plot this all out for you just simply because you need to put your own flair and ideas and story into it. But I can guide you in this process the best way possible. I'll give you an in-depth look at what's going to be due at what day this week, but I'm going to tell you that at the end of this lesson. For today, I'm going to give you some tips for diving into the cover letter, how you can write it, how to start writing it, and then some tips for how to write the college essay, which is less structured than the cover letter, so it'll be kind of more difficult to write that one. However, if you plan on going to college, you need to be able to write an essay anyway, so this will be some good practice for that. So we'll start with tips for diving into a cover letter. First, we've looked at cover letters. We've talked about this. You need to set up the formatting of the cover letter correctly. So cover letters have a really specific formatting. This should be in the top left-hand corner of your page, kind of like if you're writing an essay in MLA format. You have your name, and you're not just going to write your name. You're going to write your full name, your address. I suppose for privacy reasons, if you don't want me to know this information, you can just write, I would prefer you not know this information. But if you don't care, then put it all in so you have it all there and ready for when you need to submit this for an actual interview someday or application someday. So you're going to need your address, phone number, contact email, and the date written out. So the complete date, right? June 1st, 2020. At some point, obviously, it's going to be a completely different date when you apply for the job. Change this date. Change your address, phone number, contact information if that happens to change before you apply for a job. And this will always change too. When you're doing the formatting right now, you can just write hiring manager's name, company address, company phone number, company email when you're submitting it to me, because you don't know any of this information yet because you're not applying to a real job yet. So for now, you just leave out these details and you edit the letter when you actually start applying in a year from now. You're going to say, "Dear," whoever the hiring manager's name is, put a comma, go to the next line, indent, and then start writing the actual letter. Again, we've seen a lot of examples of cover letters and college essays by now, so these should be pretty familiar to you. You should know how to write this. In your first body paragraph, if you need help kind of jumping in how to write, what to write, make sure you introduce yourself immediately. My name is blank, and I'm looking for an opportunity to work at whatever the position is that you're applying. So a couple of you reached out to me and you said, "I don't know what I'm going to be doing after high school." Obviously you don't. That's okay. I didn't know what I was going to be doing after high school either. So what I want you to do is just write as if you plan on going into the trade that you're going into. So if you're in cosmetology, write like you're applying to a job in cosmetology. If you're in plumbing, write like you're applying to a job in plumbing. So express interest in the position to which you're applying and explain why you want the job. Make sure to catch the reader's attention. Why should they hire you as a worker? Sell yourself immediately. Make yourself seem desirable. Make yourself seem like someone that they want on their workforce and on their team. So give like a short sales pitch, nothing too long, because you're going to go into detail later in your other paragraphs on why you're a good worker, why you have good skills, what things about you are unique or stand out. But for right now, just give something nice and short, nice and simple, but be sure to kind of sell yourself and show me why I should hire you. In your second body paragraph, so that would be your first, nice and easy. That's probably going to be 3-4 sentences down, already done. Then second body paragraph, explain your specific tech skills. Why are you qualified for this job and what do you have to offer? So you know how to fix X, Y, and Z. You know how to wire this. You know how to sculpt that. You know how to weld this, use these specific tools. Tell exactly what those tools and skills are. Describe jobs or projects you've been on and use good detail. Use statistics if you have them. Impress them. What did you learn from these jobs? How have they made you a better worker? So how did you come out stronger or on top in the end after working these jobs? And explain exactly what skills you used on these jobs. Don't just list the things that were done on the job, but explain how you specifically contributed to them. So how is it that you benefited this job? How was it that you changed the way that this job was going? You might have to embellish a little. You might have to exaggerate a little. That's okay. Make yourself seem desirable. Make yourself seem like you have good traits that a worker, that a hiring manager wants. So what did you personally do? What did you bring to the job? What did you help? And what did you learn? Moving on to the third body paragraph, I want you to focus on you as a person. So if this paragraph, the second one, is going to be all about your skills and specific tech skills that you have, this one's going to be about who you are as a person, how you personally will fit into the company. Why are you a good fit for the company? And why are you a good worker or a good person? What traits do you have? Do you show up on time every day? Are you hardworking? Are you diligent? Are you detail-oriented? Are you a perfectionist? Do you work well with others? Ask yourself, what are my personal skills? How am I working with a team? Have I ever had a leadership role? How'd it go? Am I on time every day? Do I maintain a positive attitude? Am I patient when interacting with or working with difficult people? How are you communicating with customers and clients? Do you prioritize their needs above yours? Any of those desirable traits, add them into this part of the essay. Finally, your last paragraph of your cover letter should wrap up everything. It should mention jobs and skills that might not have had a place in other paragraphs. So for example, do you speak another language? That is a very desirable trait if you can speak Spanish and English, or if even you can speak Polish and English, or French and English. Do you have special training or certifications? Are you in the process of receiving another certification now? Make sure in your last paragraph also to thank the reader for their time and consideration and seem genuinely interested in the position. Make plans. I'll call you back within the week, or please, feel free to see my resume for additional details, or if you need any other supplementary materials, just let me know. Please look at my OSHA certification for more details. So make yourself seem like this is the job that you want and you want no other job. Even if that's not the case, it looks really appealing, it flatters the hiring manager, and it is just kind of helpful to keep in mind there. First and last paragraph are probably going to be your shortest paragraphs. They're only going to be a few sentences long. The meat and potatoes are going to be your second and third body paragraphs, where you're talking about who you are as a worker and a person. In the end, this is a letter, so it needs to be signed. You said dear, whoever the hiring manager was, and now you're signing your name at the bottom. Sincerely, your name. Sincerely is the most professional way to sign a letter, so do that. Finally, I do want to say this. If you have any negatives about yourself, you do not want to warn them in the cover letter. I put warn in quotation marks. You don't want to say any negatives about your work, yourself, in a cover letter. So, for example, in your cover letter, you can say, I am very good at individual tasks and jobs, but don't make it look like that means you're bad at team jobs. So, for example, do not say, team jobs are not really my strength. I work better alone. You want to make yourself seem only desirable. You don't want to make it seem like you have baggage. You don't want to make it seem like you can't do something that they might want you to do. We all have skills that we're not good at, and it's okay, because your strengths will outweigh your weaknesses, but you don't want to tell them that your strengths are going to outweigh your weaknesses. They know that. Don't bring attention to something you do not have to. Minimize your weaknesses in a cover letter, or just simply turn them into strengths. So if you, in an interview, they'll ask you, what is something that you need to improve on or work on? And you might say, I'm a perfectionist, right? It takes me extra long to do everything, but I make sure that I get everything done perfectly. So it's that cliche, turning your weakness into something good or a strength. So tips for diving into the college application essay are a lot more difficult to explain than tips for a cover letter, because there isn't really a set structure or format for a college application essay. This is because, as you know from the examples that you've been shown, it is so diverse what you can write about, what you want to write about, as long as you're sticking to one specific topic and story and diving into how that topic or story has shaped you. It's almost like a creative writing piece. It's almost like you're writing a short story. And because of that, there's no structure, no format. I can't say in first paragraph you should say this, second paragraph you should say this, because that is not the case. So this is not as structured as a cover letter. However, if you are applying to college, you need to get used to that college level writing. So I hate to say that there's not as much of a structure that I can give you, because I subscribe to this. Good teaching gives you structures, gives you exact guidelines of what you need to follow. But you need to get used to the idea that you will not always have a structure or frameworks to follow, especially in a creative writing piece or a narrative piece such as this. So you need to start being comfortable approaching this yourself in your own unique style of writing. But I can give you hints, tips, and tricks on how to get yourself more comfortable with starting with this type of writing. So this is not your typical 5-paragraph essay, a college application essay, which you should know by now, having looked at the examples of it. I can offer you some tips. I can't tell you a set structure, how it should be or has to be. However, here's how you could maybe start your essay if you're stuck on how to just dive right into it. Set a scene. Use vivid imagery to describe a moment in your life where you are doing the subject of your essay. So think about like the fishing essay that we looked at, where the kid really explained how fishing shaped him and his life and his goals for the future. He started off by describing kind of a lake outside and the process of fishing in general. So here's another example. If you're writing about a moment on the soccer field, like you want to talk about this big game that you had and how you grew from it, what you learned from it, you might describe the wind in your hair, the smell of the field, the feeling of the turf underneath your shoes to start. Using this as a jumping off point to transition into your essay, you can, use that to further talk about what you learned from the soccer experience, what it meant to you. So starting with imagery, setting a beautiful scene, can be one way to approach this. Another way to start your essay is just dive right into the topic immediately. Come up with a catchy way to hook the reader's interest first. For example, going off of the soccer example from earlier, you might write, "Everything I know in life, I learned from a 22-centimeter ball," right? Something so weird, and you're like, what is this person going to talk about? It hooks them in, and it's an easy jumping off point to transition into the essay. What you learned from the soccer experience, what it meant to you, so you can start with something kind of witty and just transition right in and start talking about soccer. Another way you could start your essay if you're stuck and don't know how to start it is to use dialogue. If, again, we go off this soccer example, you could start the essay by this: "Back in position, wrong way, shoot, shoot. My coach yelled at me from the sidelines in my very first varsity soccer game." You could use this as a jumping off point to transition into your essay. Talk about what you learned from the soccer experience and what it means to you. So all of these could be ways to start the essay if you're a little stuck with how exactly to start it. And then you use that to transition into the story of whatever game you're going to talk about, whatever experience concerning soccer you're going to talk about. And don't forget to talk about what you learned from it, how it shaped you as a person. And even if, say, you love soccer so much that you want to major in sports medicine when you go into college, mention that and talk about how maybe you had a really bad injury or fall, and the physical therapists or the occupational therapists or whatever it may be really helped you out after the surgery. That made you want to be an occupational therapist or a physical therapist. Whatever it is, you might write about that. So as long as you're off to a strong start, let what comes next flow naturally. Tell your story or moment and use good detail to describe it. Then tell how that moment shaped you, what you learned from it, and what you've accomplished since then. Remember to stick with just one topic throughout this entire essay. I don't want you talking about soccer and also football and also a time that you volunteered at a soup kitchen. Nope. Stick to one particular moment, one particular person, one particular setback, whatever it may be. This is one thing, just like the fishing example we looked at, just like the origami example we looked at, just like the 20 questions example we looked at. I guess that one was a little bit more unique and it talked about different things, but it focused on one specific topic. So one topic throughout this whole essay. That's it. The last thing, again, you want to talk about how this topic shaped what you want to do in college and mention that towards the end of your essay as well, if that's relevant to you. In my college application essay, I did not. I still got accepted to college. So if you don't do that, if you don't weave that in, totally fine. But it can make for a really coherent essay if you do. So those were some hints on how to write the college application essay, and those were some hints on how to write the cover letter as we're diving in today, because what your official assignment is going to be today will be this. Here is the schedule for the whole week. No Zoom call this week on Friday. We kind of don't have time for that. We're going into these last 2 academic weeks. We will have another Zoom call as kind of a send off and a goodbye eventually, but for now, no Zoom call this week. Today is Monday, 6/1. Your assignment for today is I want you to complete the first 250 words of your essay or cover letter. Email and share it with me for feedback. So I only want the first 250 words of your essay or cover letter. Each of these things, so remember the college essay, that maxes at 650 words. You cannot write more than that. In your cover letter, it should be 1 page long, no more, and kind of not much less. You should give some good details and information. And the heading takes up a good portion of the page too. So when you're done with the first 250 words of your essay or cover letter, email or share it with me, and I will provide you with feedback and direction. Tuesday, 6/2 will be tomorrow. I want you to complete the next 250 words of your essay or cover letter. Revise, make revisions from what I said the previous day, and then email or share with me those next 250 words for feedback. On Wednesday, it should be finished. So you're going to finish your essay or cover letter with whatever words are left over and whatever revisions I offer you and whatever feedback and suggestions I offer you on Tuesday or Monday. Email or share that with me for feedback. And then for Kahoot winners, on Friday we played Kahoot. The top 3 winners, I said that you got an extra day's extension to work on your essays or cover letters. So this is you do not have to get me your essays or cover letters on Wednesday. You can get them to me on Thursday. For those of you who weren't the Kahoot winners, I want you to revise your draft, and I'm going to have you have a parent, friend, classmate, whatever it may be, look at it and offer feedback. If you don't have someone to look it over, let me know. I'm going to look it over. So you're going to have someone look it over and give you pointed criticisms and compliments. So there'll be a form for you to fill out for that. Don't worry about that till Thursday, but just know Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're working on our first draft of our cover letters. It should be finished, the first draft, by Wednesday. Thursday, you're going to have someone look it over. And then Friday, like I said, no Zoom call. You're going to finish your revisions in regards to the feedback you got yesterday. You should put serious thought and revision into this, resubmit to me your finished product for final comments. So I'm going to say that everything should be done and your final draft should be done by Friday. However, maybe it won't be, and maybe we'll push it into Monday of the following week or Tuesday of the following week. But for right now, I'm thinking that this is what we're looking at for our timeline, and let's bank on that. So again, for today, your first 250 words of the essay or cover letter should be done and emailed and shared to me for feedback. You can do this on, and you know what, I'm suggesting that you do this on your OneDrive, so you can always have it, so it saves automatically, and so you can share it with me really easily. If you need to, because for some reason your OneDrive's not working, you can write this on a separate Word document and you can just send it to me that way. So if that's the case, you can do that. I'll give you the feedback as well, but I would highly recommend doing this on OneDrive. All right. So as long as all of this makes sense, all of it looks pretty doable, which I think that it does, I will see your first kind of ideas for your essay or cover letter. They're going to be emailed or shared to me. I'm going to give you feedback, and then starting tomorrow, we will continue. Okay. So I'll talk to you all later and have a nice day. Bye, guys.